The AR-15 rifle in its caliber 5.56 by 45 millimeters NATO is the platform that gave birth to other legendary weapons such as the M16 and later the M4 weapons that since immemorial times have been identified as a truly reliable and lethal rifle. In fact, with a quantity from 30 to 40 million rifles of the type AR-15 are present, we are talking about that is the second most produced weapon in all of history, only below the Kalashnikov type weapons. The AR-15 can be seen in the hands of millions of people in the world, including civil military police and, unfortunately, yes, also criminals and men of terror. However, we must understand that in the history of the AR-15, it has undergone so many ballistic evolutions and technical improvements that today the American rifle is considered the favorite, the most manufactured, and one of the most lethal on the planet. Want to know why? My name is Leonardo, and today I will be talking to you. Welcome to Weaponspedia. Get ready to know how lethal an AR-15 really is. Well, to better understand the lethality of a weapon of this class, we must delve into a bit of history. The AR-15 was designed by Jens Stoner Leroy James Sullivan. The AR-15 goes back from the rifle that is for its time appeared like a weapon from space, the AR-10. This was thought from the beginning as a light assault rifle that would fire a new cartridge that would be much smaller and that would reach very high speeds, the 5.56 by 45 millimeters. It had to pierce the standard M1 hull at 460 meters and maintain a speed that exceeded that of speed of sound while matching or exceeding the wound producing capacity of the 30-point curved cartridge, and tests showed that a team of 5 to 7 men armed with the AR-15 had the same firepower as one of 11 armed men with the M14. The soldiers armed with the AR-15 could carry twice as much ammunition as those armed with the M14 because the M14 rifles, despite being well built, were heavy. They used a large ammunition and the kick was atrocious. When trying to maintain sustained fire, in 1959, Armalite sold its rights to the AR-15 to the Colt Manufacturing Company due to financial difficulties. Colt continued to produce the rifle under the Colt brand Armalite AR-15 and advertised it to various armed forces around the world, many of which showed great interest. After some modifications, the new redesigned rifle was adopted by the U.S. Army as the M16, which went into production in March 1964 to be used in the Vietnam War by the U.S. There is even a photograph of then President John F. Kennedy holding and admiring an AR-15 in the Oval Office in the White House. The AR-15 continued to be the U.S. service weapon for years to come. It was replaced by a variant, the M4 carbine, that was used by American soldiers in the Kosovo War and later in the Gulf War. But enough history. Now if we go into ballistics and what we really came to understand in words how lethal the AR-15 is. This weapon, before we must make it clear that talking about the lethality of one is quite complex and involves many variables, but the AR-15 is probably one of the weapons with which there is more technical and medical ballistic information regarding its lethality. However, the secret is found in its ammunition. The 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO cartridge is basically a 55 to 62 grain bullet that comes out the muzzle of the rifle at 990 meters per second. This is about 3 times the speed of the cartridge of a modern pistol. That means it has a lot of energy to distribute within the body on impact. The AR-15 assault rifle was designed to create what one of its designers called a maximum wound. Its lowercase needle point bullets weighing less than 4 grams travel at almost 3 times the speed of sound. When the bullet hits the body, the kinetic energy charge opens a cavity within the meat, essentially an insert space which collapses on itself, destroying an elastic tissue including nerves, blood vessels, and vital organs. Surprisingly, the 5.56 ammunition of the AR-15 does not have anywhere near the power of a hunting rifle or even an AK-47 or Desert Eagle. However, despite not having that ability to pass through walls or cars on both sides, the 5.56 has a very particular ability that it makes it more lethal than all others when used against humans or animals. Vicente Malo, an American pathologist and super expert in the issue of bullet wounds, states that the killing power of the AR-15 is that its bullets were designed not to go directly through an object such as an AK-47 would, but to spin around when due impact is destroying the meat along the way and leaving a large damage and exit hole. More technically speaking, the Imago explains that when a 5.56 metal-coated projectile comes in contact with human tissue, it travels in a circular path and begins to rotate sideways. This spinning effect will be significant at 12 centimeters at the point of maximum yaw. The bullet will spin at a 90-degree angle as it travels through the body. This is something that the handgun ammunition does not do. This effect of twist or yaw to release tremendous kinetic energy into human tissue. Not only is the permanent cavity larger due to the lateral trajectory of the bullet, thus destroying more tissue through direct contact of the bullet, but the surrounding tissue. The tissue has not been directly hit by the bullet also receives a strong impact. On the other hand, the impact of a 5.56 on bone, according to experts, sometimes it can fracture or jam the projectile in it. Precisely that lack of power is what represents an extra danger of a metal projectile inside a human body. Can cause poisoning. A bullet of an AR-15 the bullet of an AR-15 exerts a type of violence totally different about the human body. Has so much energy that I can disintegrate 2 inches of bone in the leg and it would turn into dust, says Tono Jenkins, trauma surgeon at the Health Science Center at the University of Texas in San Antonio. Likewise, says if you're hit 10, the expert Vincent estimates. I also commented on another factor that is not present in firearm shots that has to do with the probability that the shots from high velocity rifles break or fragment when passing through human tissue. And Mayo claims that the fragmentation of projectiles can amplify the effects of damage to the temporal cavity, increasing the severity of the wound. Dr. Peter Ree, a prominent trauma surgeon and retired captain with 24 years of active service in the Navy, he claims that comparing the damage that an AR-15 and a 9mm pistol can cause to the human body, in the case of an AR-15, it seems that a grenade exploded in there. But here, I have a real testimony of the lethality of this rifle in a conflict during the Vietnam War. A team of Rangers ambushed Viet Cong soldiers. The war report listed that the wounds inflicted on the enemies, including a wound from the back that blew up the thoracic cavity, an injury to the buttock that destroyed all the tissue in both buttocks, and finally a heel injury in which the projectile entered the lower part of the right foot, causing the leg to be split from the foot up to the hip. All the casualties were instantaneous, according to the war report, except for the wound in the buttock, where the North Vietnamese soldiers still lived for about 5 minutes. But what happens if for some reason it is possible to survive a shot from this weapon? Nothing good, according to Dr. Peter. More and the results are not all favorable. If you survive an assault rifle wound, complications are tremendous. Things like intestines, they tend to leak, and would can all kinds of problems. With the abdominal walls, hernias, everything that is fixed can collapse. The infection is usually the biggest problem. But not only the power of submission is what makes an AR-15 so lethal. There is a variety of immense factors that make the lethality can also be translated into precision. and handling in the battlefield, which consequently makes it a more complete rifle without going into so many technical details. The AR-15 are famous for four main characteristics. They are light, they are reliable, they are customizable, and easy to shoot. Due to the AR-15's aluminum and polymer construction significantly lighter than many comparable rifles. In fact, the average AR-15 only weighs around 2.7 kilograms when unloaded, making it suitable for military use. In addition, the civilian AR-15 boasted a handful of innovation features at the time of its release, including a barrel design, on and cylinder head in a straight line that helped to reduce recoil and muzzle elevation, making the weapon relatively easy to fire. Then multiply the damage from a single bullet and by the ease of firing an AR-15 semi-automatically. According to experts, the AR-15 are also known for their reliability, and basic design has remained practically unchanged during the last 60 years, although clearly it has been perfected in almost all of its components, and in modern AR-15 it can fire thousands of cartridges with quality ammunition without any problem. Also, the AR-15 are very modular, which means that they can be easily disassembled and reassembled with spare parts in case something goes wrong. Another important point is that the AR-15 are extremely customizable, and the modular design of the AR-15 in combination with its overwhelming popularity means that there is a huge selection of parts available from both manufacturers and companies specialized exclusively in parts and accessories. The AR-15 can be equipped very easily with accessories such as pistons, red dot sights, and much more. Some have even called the AR-15 the Barbie doll for men because you can put the accessories that you want. That has been all. I hope you have enjoyed it. Subscribe. This is Weaponspedia, and I wish you an excellent day.